After months of talks, Congress finally passed a new $900 billion COVID relief bill this week. Lawmakers from both parties say the bill isn't perfect, but it does provide some relief for millions of Americans. Now the bill is in jeopardy after a late-night threat from President Trump. White House correspondent Rachel Scott has more.
This morning, President Trump signaling he won't sign that COVID relief package set to provide aid for millions of Americans.
Send me a suitable bill, or else the next administration will have to deliver a COVID relief package.
The president labeling the bipartisan bill a disgrace, demanding Congress increase the amount of those stimulus checks from $600 to $2,000. But the president's new threat coming after lawmakers have already left Washington for the holidays, and after the Trump administration had promised those checks would be in the mail as soon as next week.
Let me emphasize that people are going to see this money the beginning of next week.
Now that crucial aid on hold for millions, like recent graduate Shantae Katnisser, who says she does not know how she'll be able to support her family and pay her student loans next month.
It would be really nice to get a little support so that I don't become homeless, so that I can pay my bills.
And just before the holidays, images like this, long lines at food banks from coast to coast. Democrats say they will take Trump up on his $2,000 check demand. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi tweeting overnight that they are ready to bring this to the floor this week. Let's do it. But Republicans have refused to budge on the price tag of the roughly $900 billion stimulus package. And one of the president's closest allies, Senator Lindsey Graham, calling the bill imperfect, but saying the sooner the bill becomes law, the better. President-elect Joe Biden calling it just a down payment.
How can you assure Americans that relief will come and come soon?
I predict to you we'll get cooperation. The public is not going to stand for us not doing.
And Rachel joins us live now with more. Rachel, many lawmakers have already left town for Christmas. The government shuts down on Monday without a funding bill, and money for unemployment runs out on Saturday. So what happens now?
Yeah, the clock is certainly ticking right now, especially with relief for millions at stake, as well as that government shutdown. So essentially all of this right now is on hold. One question that we are getting is, can this bill currently be amended? And the short answer is no. It's already been passed in both chambers. It got bipartisan support. So you're seeing Democrats saying that they will try and get this unanimous vote on the House floor to pass a bill that has $2,000 stimulus check, something that they have been pushing for months, but Republicans would not budge on the overall price tag of the bill. It also comes down to what the president wants to do here. The president obviously has the power to veto this bill, but it hasn't even landed on his desk yet. So after these bills get passed in Congress, it normally takes about several days before it actually reaches the president's desk. So he could veto it outright. That would send it back to Congress. They could potentially override that veto, which is pretty likely here since they did have bipartisan support. If it does land on his desk today, he does have an option to just sit on the bill, which means that it could just potentially expire. If the president does not sign it in 10 days, it would become law. But all of the timing here is just really funky at this point. Not only do you have that relief expiring for millions of Americans at the end of the year, you also have a new Congress coming in just 11 days. The president has 4 weeks left in office. So the short answer here is that all of this is just really on limbo at this point. And I know that so many Americans, so many that we have talked to, are just holding their breath, waiting to see if this is going to come through, Diane.
Rachel, was there any warning from the president on this? Last week during all these negotiations, did he tell anyone, I won't sign it unless these checks are for $2,000?
Yeah, and this is where Democrats are really angry this morning. They are coming out and saying, look, we wanted this to be $2,000 stimulus checks. In fact, the House passed the bill that included $2,000 in direct payments to Americans, but Republicans didn't want to go any higher on the price tag. And so you had the president's Secretary of Treasury, Steve Mnuchin. He was involved in leading negotiations for the White House, and he indicated that those stimulus checks would be out in the mail to Americans as early as next week. The White House also signaled and indicated that the president would be signing this bill. And so now the president coming forward, it's a little too late at this point, trying to say that he wants this amount to increase when these negotiations were going on for months. Remember, this is the first stimulus bill that Congress has passed in more than 6 months, Diane.
And separately, Rachel, President Trump issued a slate of pardons last night. Who was on that list, and do we expect to see more?
Yeah, 4 weeks left in office. President Trump issuing the slate of pardons. So it does include 2 former congressmen. You have Chris Collins and Duncan Hunter on here. They were both convicted on corruption charges and forced to resign, both supporters of the president. Another ally, George Papadopoulos, you may remember him from that Mueller probe and looking into Russian interference in the 2016 election. He was convicted for lying to the FBI. And then you had the president pardoning 4 Blackwater military contract guards who were convicted of killing more than a dozen civilians who were unarmed there in Iraq back in 2007. And one of the witnesses who saw one of those contractors open fire on women and children, killing them. Democrats are obviously blasting this at this point. They say the president is trying to bring down the House of Justice on his way out the door. But, you know, Diane, even as the president refuses to concede an election that he lost, this is just another sign that he realizes that his time and his days are numbered.
All right, our White House correspondent, Rachel Scott. Thanks, Rachel.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.